Hello, my friends. Here again, I am in the darkness, sending forth some light. Skywalker is back again. Your world is a hell plane, and you are herded and preyed upon. I have always been the most peculiar person. I have always been the most peculiar person. And it is for the reason that I have often, or generally, I have chosen to find the light from my own source than from any external flame. Now, any way you view this principle, it has to be the most accurate and the most worthy source. We will say that iron sharpens iron. For this reason, we make debate. And from these debates, one might gain a useful truth from the other, or most importantly, be directed back to his own light. I am not here to say these truths just to put a burden on your spirit. I am saying these things to offer hope that the next golden age depends on you to make simple changes. You do not have to take up arms to fight dragons in this time. In fact, I will not say fight dragons. I will say fight beasts. For the truth is, why was there such a great obsession with slaying the dragons in the first place? No entity that is wiser than all others is as evil as the evil reporter will report. However, let us not go there right now. People, there are some ones or groups of people that come to this platform to see what they will take but will give nothing beneficial in return. If you don't know what this is about, I am not addressing you. Do not worry. If you have that negative intention, then something will be required of you. I am not doing this for an individual named Skywalker. This is a cosmic event. Equal give and take. Every act of intercourse typifies the contract. Therefore, we must play our roles in the agreement. Give what you owe and do not just expect to take. I am doing this to speak to people that I want to interest, not to detractors. Any detractor who comes here to take what was not given to him is in the process of attacking someone that did not attack him or her. Find a different energy to feed on. I don't care about you and your stealing ways. I care about my truth. What most people do not realize is this. Unless you were born as a dead soul, no one had to teach you about God. It is and must be the intrinsic you. God is in you. You say that God created you. Well, fine. You put your thought in whatever you create. This is why an engineer will find a strange gadget and by simply observing it, he will discover its secret. He will understand the thoughts that the Creator put into it. By reverse engineering, he will discover how to replicate it. I say you put your thought into whatever you create. You could discover the use of the steering wheel in a car by simple observation. You will realize the thought that the creator of the vehicle put into it. By reverse engineering, you will find what reason he had for what and what use it would be good for. This is why I always remind you God internal, man divine. If you take a wide view of the society we live in, you will see for thousands of years what has been happening to our world. You will discover the players in this game of life across the ages, and you will discover their motives, be it good or evil. You will not you were not even 3 years of age when you learned the commandment that says, "Do to others as you would have them do to you." And you could not even read the Bible at that time. Moses did not tell you. Whoever shepherded you are simply taking out patent for the natural attributes of God in you. God put all these things in your heart by design, but the state you are in, you have become blind to the truth. You say that God is outside of you. You say that God is outside of you. You say He's in the sky. And so you fear what you are. You fear what you are because God has nothing to do with you. Your entire heart and mind are not yours. You live inside of these perpetuations that belong to God and you receive from God. I am going to say this again. Your entire heart and mind are not yours. You live inside of these perpetuations. Your entire heart and mind are not yours, and neither are they residing inside of you. They are too big to reside inside of you. You live inside of these perpetuations that belong to God and you receive from God. What you create, you put your thought into. God creates you every day. If the information is all that is important in the event, what difference does it make that the radio station is not in the radio? The brick and mortar entity is not in the radio, but the receiver binds the radio station to the radio. The same information that is at the station is in the radio. There is that one radio station, but there are thousands of radios, and that radio station signal is equal in all of them. Will one radio go to the other and say, "The radio station sent me with a message for you"? My friend, please like and subscribe for the algorithms and to get notification when I post new videos. If you leave a comment, I will definitely respond to it. My people, this is a news flash to you. Bob Marley did say that you think you are living in heaven, but you are living in hell, and he was right. Tupac Shakur did break this truth down to a T. He explained it painstakingly. I wish to go even further. My loved ones, this earth world paradigm has been a hell plane for eons now. There was, before this, a heavenly plane, which history will record as golden ages. Then the intruding spirits came, and step by step, disorder was brought to us. We were often told about something awful coming, like that one day the wrath of God would fall upon the earth, and mankind would be punished for all and sundries, and even for nothing at all when you break it down. Meanwhile, mankind was distracted, waiting for that day. That day was being brought to his reality. So it was done so slowly, and he got more and more used to living in discomfort, in chaos, and in pain, that it became normalized in a step by step manner, that even when he was in hell, he was still waiting for hell to come. This world is an evil hell plane. It is like a raging destructive flame that burns the souls of man. And you were told about a zombie apocalypse, but while you shivered in fear, watching it on Disney movies, it was brought upon you without you realizing. Well, it wasn't on Disney movies, it was on Hollywood movies, Hollywood films. It was brought upon you without you realizing it though. You expected the zombies to suddenly appear and begin to chase you. What you don't realize is that it was you who would be made into zombies and you were. You were. I am very sorry to say this, and truth is not meant as an offense. How do you know that you were made into zombies if you are a zombie? You would not. You believe you are your same self as of old, the same old me. That's what you believe. In the time of the golden ages, all your prophets, sages, and messiahs came to enlighten you. They came to raise dry bones, the heavens will declare. The deeper meaning is to raise the living from the dead, for zombies are the living dead. Your daily applications of culture is your daily medicine. What you eat, drink, do, and say are all rituals, my beloved. I posted a video about Usain Bolt, the Olympian idol, and I hope you see the ritual that I was trying to expose to you. Everything you do and say is a ritual, and your God masters would not use them. Your handlers would not waste time on them if they did not make sense to them. Do you believe that the fact that you are on a dosifying diet of fluoride and other zombifying foods is insignificant? It helps, but you do not know that you are being restrained. You are always moved from one norm into the next, that when you are moved full circle, you do not realize that you are already the opposite of what you were before. For example, fluoride does not come with a visible rope and harnesses you. It simply makes you less passionate to attack what you disagree with, and it makes it more challenging to split the differences and much more easier to simply pass it by. It simply gives you a passive mindset that you will just go about your daily business as instructed, taking all your prescriptions without fighting because you want the easier way. You do not want to hear hard or challenging stuff. This is what it does, but you think that's your normal mode. This is why I expose you to a deadly blood sacrificing ritual all day, every day, and you rather I tell you a happy song. So you just go on with doing your day to day prescribed rituals and compromise your souls in this demonic slave plane of hell without even realizing. But you think by being the conformist, you are the better person. And this is what is drilled inside your head. You are more decent, you are more upright, and you are more deserving because you are more conforming. Your world will not become predominantly homosexual. Your world will not become predominantly homosexual, for example, with you noticing you being bought into it. If you notice you being bought into it, your world will not become predominantly homosexual. It has to be step by step, and you think you are just minding your own business, or you think you are being fair while you are being unfair to yourself. You will help to make it happen while claiming that you oppose the idea. You are in a debate, a negotiation, a conversation where you know neither means or method. So, what means and what methods will you agree to make apply? And to whom will the benefit come? Mankind. Every part of your daily method, what you eat, what you drink, the way you talk, and what you believe, is a ritual that was not designed by you or any man of this earth plane. You are being herded by entities that see you as nothing but sheep. When you watch the zombie movies, you imagine that when this day come, it will be a horror. However, it was coming in you. It was coming inside you. But because it was you being zombified, you could not see it coming. In the movies, the zombies would be living and dead. One who is a living dead is hard to raise because he chooses death. His reality is comfortable with death, unlike the dead that simply died while he would have chosen life. We often say that it is harder to raise the dead than to raise. It is easier to raise the dead. It is always easier to raise the dead than to raise the living from the dead. In the movies, the zombies want to get at the victim's brain. Why do they always want brain? It is simply symbolical, or it is symbolically exposing how they will get to your mind and destroy it. The victim is scratched or bitten by a zombie and thinks he gets away, but only for his friends to realize that this contact with the zombie contaminated him and he would become one of the zombies too. So slowly, gradually, brains are getting into and more people become zombies until all the population will become zombies. And even if it seems that they make a success in fighting against the zombies, the end of the movie will tell you that the zombies did not lose. This is simply showing the power of the information to make you something else, and that it will be the victim who will contaminate the victim. This is the story of the zombie apocalypse. No zombie in hell will revolt against the establishment of hell because zombies have flatlined mindsets and they will help to create their own destructions in ignorance. They will receive and accept ready done definitions, so they only take prescriptions. It is easier for a mind that has been compromised, just like I call it a fluoride or a metal-headed mind. It is easier for them to just accept, for their life is easier and they do not have to do a lot of brain work. Instead, they can just put their trust in the system, whether they know what it is or not, or whether they know what the real means or methods are, or whether they have intimate contact to the planners of the society or not. They will just put their trust in it. It's a zombified approach, but zombies will not even reckon on that. They are contaminated and they accept only a fate in hell. Why am I the only one like me? Is that a reason to say that I am wrong? Is the fact that I am the only one a reason to say that I am wrong? Or if the entire world is brought low into slave mindsets, will the one that sees not be the uncommon type, the anomaly? Sheep have a herd mentality, and this is why conquered beings from anywhere in the galaxy are referred to as herd or like sheep. One will herd in the other. They will simply follow the rules, so they believe that the other one out is always wrong. Everyone knew the world was flat, but the odd man out was executed when he first said it was round. Do you know this? The odd man was right. The odd man out is usually the pioneer that breaks barriers and makes useful changes. This is because the masses are already the sheep. It is not meant as an insult, it is the reality. You are marked by the rock that you fall on. Maybe we came by random events. It matters not. We are living beings like you, but we are carved from not your mold. I say again, the first man who declared that this world was round was executed. How many times must history repeat itself? But you will not at least listen. Those that enslave you authorize everything, including your religions. Your religious books are slowly modified over the ages to fit into the new stereotypes. I challenge the churches to go back at least 60 years and study the revisions of the Bible. It is a different Bible telling different details from the first, and some of the new revisions are literally opposing older ones. I posted a video about the world being brought to hell by polarizing magic. I wish to explain this in finer details later on. One secret that they pull over you is the hate speech ticket. Not everything you say something, not every time, not every time you say something is a hate speech, it is true. For example, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Not every time you say that something is a hate speech is true, or not everything that you say is a hate speech is true. For example, a homosexual is to the church an abomination. Why? I will tell you why. But in just secular order, to go broadly and say, okay, the other person is an abomination, might be classified as an hate speech. But in the church and according to the system of the church, a homosexual is an abomination, which is in that case not a hate speech. But why is he an abomination when you take it to the threshold of the church? Because he profanes the values of the church. Look up the word abomination if you must. Did I make a hate speech? No, I did not. And you know I did not, especially because you know me by now and my strong and persistent love for free will. Yet, in this case, I would defend the right of the church to its own sanctity. However, what will be the solution of a loggerhead between church and the homosexual community? You see, I am the one that splits the difference between equally. And this is what you have to be. But look at what your masters will do. What will be the solution of a loggerhead between church and the homosexual community? In your evil world, it would be a call for an it would be a call for and an imposition of homosexual priests inside your churches. It would be a system where they have to force homosexuality upon the church, regardless of the foundation and belief of the church. And the same thing applies to the society. All of this are done for a reason, and it is unjust by right. And this is how you split this truth. The homosexuals could farm their own churches by right. The homosexuals, I scratch the word could, should form their own churches and call the heterosexuals abominations if they will. Think about it. In that case, me, I as a straight person would not feel offended by them calling me an abomination because I am straight. And I would be happy to leave them and their church alone. This is how you coexist and this is how you compromise. But in your evil society, someone would try to make this out to be a hate speech. Why is it a hate speech? Because it is balanced. It is a hate speech for being balanced because it is not seeking for a balance. It is a hate speech for being balanced because it's not seeking for a balance. Now, I am carefully choosing these words so that no one can lie about this being a hate speech. I would not go to profane or abominate a homosexual church with my abominable self. You could bet $1 zillion on that. However, notice how you are restricted from being balanced in a conversation, splitting the differences equally. But no, in your evil world, the advantage in a conversation has to always skew to one side. And if we see the rights being set at 30% for the heterosexual and 100%, I don't know how they find it that way, for the homosexual, do you regard it as good mathematics? No, it is not. And why do you not resist and split it down the middle? Why do you not see this way tactic in this to abominate the church? Normally and naturally, this is not what you are supposed to be. This is not how you should react. This is not normal, but the masses are being the abnormal ones. Can't you see this? Well, well, we speak about the church, but why are there the similar tactics using similar tenets to abominate the entire society and turn man into sheep? But do you have what it takes to resist, or do you only have time to find food for your children's future? You go out and the hustle, look for yourself alone. Don't care about anything else but yourself, because it is for your children's future, their future. Future to you means find food for your children today and to prepare them for a future that is coming, not designed or defined by you. A future not defined or decided by you. What is future and what are the human obligations to future? What is future and what are the human obligations to future? You have an obligation to know. You have an obligation to know and to find out what you do not know. I was not even 3 before I realized this unwitting sacrifice that is upon me, and I will not say it was worth it. I will never ever say it was worth it. I will say that I had to do it. Neither am I here to destroy the beast. I am not here to destroy any beast. Dark souls and light souls all have free wills. We must choose for what we will. I am an observer and I am one who will balance the odd in terms of affording the information where there is a lack of balance. Let me tell you something, and if you wanted to make sure of my authority, you could have challenged me with words. But I will tell you anyway. And I want to go back to the talk about balance. Those that tried to steal the message or hide it are also creating a new balance, but this one is going to create imbalances in their life. I can tell you this. Everyone that tried to steal this message will find that the imbalance they create will be returned to them tenfold. First, there is no such thing as a perfect God entity. God is always being and becoming, creating, creating. God is best defined as perpetual motion, and that is what it is in your reality. If you have the power to define anything else, show me and show me how it works. Any higher God than this is not accessible to human souls, and it would be quite presumptuous of lower beings to aspire to this. I will then tell you about a God force accessible to those on a human platform. You will not speak to a college professor at kindergarten. It is not accessible to you. Why do you expect a perfect God to fill you with imperceivable perfection when you cannot even perceive that a man who drinks blood, calls for blood, and only forgives you if you shed blood, even symbolically, is a beast? But you want to go conceive upon higher realms. the higher realms, that is only esoteric and superstition to you. You want to conceive when you cannot conceive the obvious. You stand beside a tree and and you see the root of it and you can figure out that leaves are at the top. Well, listen, eons ago, there was a civilization on this earth that claimed that they came from the heavens. The Bible referred to them as the Elohim. Well, if that word is not yet removed by their revisions, they use science as magic. These people are the civilization that came. And the Bible didn't tell you that in the beginning God created the world or God created the earth. It tells you that in the beginning the society of Elohims created the earth world. The world, well, it used the word world, right? That's right, the earth world. It did create the earth. It didn't create the earth airplane, it created the world. The Bible referred to them as the Elohim. Well, if that word is not removed by their revisions. You hear me again? They use science as magic to earth populations, and with misogynists, they also created beings as like themselves. They were never a perfect civilization, but they were an advancing society that tried their best to create greater with science. Science, used to adverse effect, had destroyed their planet to a great degree and depleted their ozone layer. Earth to them was now a refuge, and the gold of earth was a utility. This is why gold is so precious even today. They believed that the gold could mend their ozone layer. At least their scientists had demonstrated that it worked. I do not want to get too deep in this matter, so I will move on. Suffice it to say that they created a world paradigm for the earth. I often explain to you that the earth and the world are not the same. One is the physical airplane that soar around in the orbit, and the other is the spirit or order of the societal mold, the template that can create order or disorder, that can create order in a short matter of space, that can create peace if they like, that can create a chaotic society if they like, that can create a golden age in a year. They soon left the plane after equipping the mankind that were dear children of earth from heaven and earth by blood. They soon left the plane after equipping the mankind that were dear children of earth from heaven and earth by blood to build their own civilizations. They left earth man to build his own civilization. They had faith and confidence in him. When they left, they did not take some of their servants, slaves, even that were supposed to man space stations on the moon and Mars. These servants were hateful, for they were of a different race from the gods and were treated with distrust and also restricted in their own planet where the gods brought them from. For they were so greedy and envious that it was not conducive to order or to build successful civilizations. Noah was like one of the first descendant of these beings, of these Elohim slave, of these beings that were slaves to the Elohim. When Noah was born, they said he was he had a different complexion and he was scary, and his father ran away thinking it wasn't his child, but it was because of the ancient miscegenation. So the seed of this misogyny, because of this Emmanuel being, was also in the bloodline of man, and that bloodline is in every single human. But when the children were born, they were not anymore of the darker earth complexion. They seemed different, and their eyes seemed different. Yet these gods that left found favor with the mankind that were created from the earth and from their own lines. And these mankind was perfect before came the envious slaves that were manning the stations on the moon and Mars. The alien slaves came to the earth on their vessels and saw the earthman building and managing the society, even attempting to build our manned space stations to soar to the heavens like the gods. Man had become very great in terms of science and all that. So stop believing that this modern age is the greatest age when your researchers are not even telling you what they are finding in Egypt, what they are finding all over the world, where they are finding bullets. They are seeing nuclear holocaust. They are finding computers. They are finding the diagram of how to build aircrafts and so on and so forth. They are looking at books that telling them about the heart, blood, and circulation, etc., etc. These jealous entities were livid when they saw mankind. They were the beastly fathers of Emmanuela monsters, the Emmanuel, the bloodthirsty beast that feasted on the emotions and pains of others. They always plead for blood. Lord Emmanuel, who many Africans will remember and explain to you to this day. Many will tell you how they caused a genocide and sucked up the blood of millions in Rwanda. They want sacrifice. They plead for blood. They are always thirsty, and you are the sheep. You are their prey. They infiltrated, took the reins on earth against the young society that did not know war and deceit. They implemented a Baba spell, or what the Bible referred to as Babel, to cause polarization at every turn. If it was not one in loggerhead with the other, it was one not understanding by way of language. One was one thing and the other was another. But they had to want that same thing and live with a sense of injustice, one against the other. They confounded the speech of mankind. In at least some parts of Africa, the word Baba means confounded speech or vision. Yet, all across the world where mankind resides, there is an inclination to demonstrate it naturally, where we are deliberate to not hear or understand what the other person says. I don't want to hear it, or I can't hear you. So, as a child, while that asshole was talking, you stuck fingers in your both ears and said ba 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 until he gets the message and realize that you can't hear him. That is Baba. I get a lot of that, but I simply speak and go along. I came with a load and I cannot bear it on my shoulders. I must first put it down. Baba or no Baba. These entities taught mankind war, greed, and avarice, and they spent even more times with the women that made families to corrupt them. The snake hissed to the earlobes of Eve in the garden. Their quest was always to subjugate. They created by miscegenation hideous creatures, including those like dogs, to hunt and tear flesh. They had power to subjugate and make the prey surrender. They gave no mercy to those that were prey that did not surrender. They had no surrender. They had to surrender and show worship, bow, pray. And they were given a ritual to bow before their masters, and affirm to be the pray. They were God to mankind. Now that the Elohim left, and man would have to bow and pray and beg, burn, pray and beg. People, I do not want to stay too long on a video, So I am out for today. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.